All right, how to price your offers to hit 50K a month ASAP. Title says it all. This is geared towards B2B business owners doing over $10,000 a month in monthly recurring revenue or more. If you're teetering on the border of that or just below that, digesting this and being around folks a few steps ahead of you are how you get there quicker. So I recommend you stick around and watch anyway. This is going to apply to you quite soon, if not already. This is all stuff that I've actually done via 2 different businesses and I'm doing in real time in my AI marketing agency right now as we speak, Vintascale. These files and documents are part of a daily real-time documentation of my business and serve as a real-time playbook on how to scale a 7-figure business in real time in the world of AI. As always, I make no income claims. My results are not typical. I'm not guaranteeing you're going to make a certain amount. I'm simply documenting what I'm doing in real time, along with our learnings and real-time results, so that you know without a shadow of a doubt that this works. As always, this document is available for free download in the description below this video. I'll send it to you via email, plus some more no BS advice throughout the week that will make you richer. Now, in terms of some updates on my agency, Vintascale, we are no longer offering build and release projects. We are currently working exclusively with businesses doing over $1 million in annual recurring revenue, roughly equates to $80,000 a month in MRR, raising our minimum threshold for done-for-you client work from $30K a month to $80K a month MRR as of the time of this video, with a focus on, number 1, adding and scaling cold email as a client acquisition channel, number 2, helping your business scale further by designing premium offers for maximum profit, and number 3, business strategy to become the undisputed market leader in your niche. Also, we may be hiring 1 to 2 go-to-market engineers in the next 2 to 3 weeks. I'm putting the word out early because things are moving fast. If that interests you, stay close and stay tuned for more announcements and sign up to my mailing list. The link is in the description and I will keep you updated via there as well. Now, if it's your first time here, my name is Pablo. I'm the founder of Vintascale, a B2B AI marketing agency. We currently generate over $250,000 a month in deal flow for our clients with AI and cold email. I'm making this video because my goal is to help you make more money, because when you do, you will trust me more. You may become a client of mine eventually, and then in that way, you'd make even more money. You'd pay me my fee, and we'd all be richer. So I've done this twice now with 2 different businesses, scaling them to multiple 6 figures in just 8 weeks each. The case study is posted on my channel, and I've embedded it in this document as well. And now I'm building my marketing agency, Vintascale, in real time in front of you all, which I've been documenting pretty much since day 1. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I put out no BS content, and I would recommend you download this document for free once you're done watching this and go through it to make sure you're applying it, because most people binge content but don't ever actually do anything, and that's why they stay poor. Now, here's $500,000 in social proof as to why you should or should not listen to me. Up to you. Here's $28,000 we generated in 7 days, worth of deal flow. This was within the last month. Case studies on how I built and scaled 2 multiple 6-figure businesses. $37,000 a week funnel that we built and generated with cold email. This is the behind the scenes case study for an active client of ours. Screenshots of us handing off 6-figure deals to clients. Here's how we generated about $100,000 in opportunities. These are just typical routine campaigns we run. These both were internal campaigns earlier this year. $50,000 worth of deals generated from a routine internal campaign. Client case study testimonial interviews on how we generated $40,000 in just a matter of 14 days. And the architecture, behind the scenes of how we built the architecture, so on and so forth. So it's all there. It's all on my channel. Watch my content, download this document, apply it, and you will become one of the most lethal cold emailers and entrepreneurs on the planet. Now, how to price your offers to guarantee you hit 50K a month ASAP. That equates to roughly $600,000 per year. Now, pricing can get infinitely complex, but we're going to keep it simple. And the way you keep it simple is by operating in the highest ticket zone you can. Because it will do 2 things. Number 1, it will attract better customers for you. Thank me later. With a higher success rate on their own. They're natural A players. Number 2, in that same breath, it will allow you to have a higher success rate of getting them results as you're scaling them and you're not, instead of saving them, which is infinitely easier to do. And number 3, you make more money. And if I were to tell you anything else, I would be misleading you, which I'm not here to do. So this is not a new concept, pricing high tickets, so on and so forth. It's not a new concept, but there's a way to price your offerings with honesty, integrity, and in a way that positions you to be able to deliver your clients real results. And this is stuff that, as a business owner, you have to consider more and more as you scale. Now, prerequisites, this is geared towards agency owners and B2B business owners who are doing north of 10K a month already. If you're just on the border, again, don't worry. It's important to be ahead mentally. Beginners, same thing for you. This is just a signal of where you're at in terms of market credibility. Also, you can file this document in the 10K a month to 50K a month section of this overall playbook. I will give my recommendations some other day on how to organize all these files and documents. Another prerequisite, you must have some sort of premium offer. We'll discuss that further today, but I would highly recommend that you watch this video embedded in this document, also on my channel, to supplement your learning. It's how to sell $20,000 offers over cold email. We spoke in this video on how to make sense, how to make high ticket offers make sense to a prospect / client, especially when doing cold outbound. So let's talk about the price to value equation. And I'm going to use my own story as an example, and then we'll bring this back to you. So these are more advanced concepts that you won't start thinking about until you're in the 10K to 30K a month range. But it's important that you plan ahead, because again, this is how you skip the line and make those big leaps like I did. So I started out working for free. Then I went to charging $300 per meeting booked rather quickly. And then I jumped to 16K. So 16K equates to about $5,300 a month. I just collected it all up front, or a 50% deposit. This was for a 3-month engagement. And now we're operating at $50,000 engagements for done for you work. And very, very recently began new onboarding while finishing the last round of offboarding. So this may sound out of this world, especially in the lead gen and marketing space, but let's make sense of this together so that we can stay grounded and so that you can see that this actually makes a lot more sense than you might think. And I don't think anybody is really talking about this stuff on YouTube, so it's important for me to break this down, because this is one of those unfair advantages that you just get in the business world. You just have to hear it, and you have to see someone do it first. I know what that's like. So, number one, we didn't arrive here all at once as an agency. It took steps. It took layers. So, it took competency. So, developing and demonstrating competency, then credibility, then authority, combined with an ability to communicate clearly and often how this pales in comparison to the value we provide. Again, I'm going to repeat that whole thing, because that's so important. You can't we didn't just go from 0 to $50,000 engagements, and that just happened. Like, that was just a decision that we executed, employed, and began onboarding. So we didn't arrive here all at once as an agency. I'm not here to sell anybody a dream. It took steps. It took layers. First, it required that I personally, as the founder of my agency, that I demonstrate sufficient competency in my ability to get people results, and this thing that we do of AI cold email. Then, so once competency was demonstrated, then I had to demonstrate credibility, referrals, testimonials, screenshots, whether it's internal campaigns, client campaigns, credibility. Then it took me demonstrating and commanding and building authority. So not just credibility, because everybody has credibility, but authority, the solution for whatever it is. In this case, it's AI cold email. Combined, so we didn't, not even stopping there, combined with an ability to communicate clearly and often, including in these videos, how this 50K or 16K or even 300 per meeting, but focus on now, how this pales in comparison to the value we provide. So I couldn't get, these are all layers that have to exist in tandem. None can exist without the other. So if I could communicate clearly and often how this pales in comparison to the value we provide, where's the authority I've built in the marketplace? Where's the credibility? Where's the competency and credibility and proof that shows that I provide that I provide this value? It's not enough for me to just communicate this. It's not enough for me to just have authority. Why do I have authority? Who am I? There has to be credibility. There has to be proof. There has to be the 80-something videos behind this of me building up credibility and competence. Like, there has to be all these in layers. You cannot skip this line. You can accelerate this by increasing your output. You can definitely accelerate this, but you cannot skip these layers. You can't. So this is like this whole, I could make this a whole like college lecture right here, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put a diamond emoji instead. And of course my diamond emoji is glitching. There we go. So someone's going to steal that, but I recommend you take it, because that is how you you dominate anything. That's how you dominate anything. Competency, credibility, authority, combined with an ability to communicate. Floyd Mayweather, competency, the skill, right? Credibility, word of mouth, like, the proof is in the pudding, the stats, authority, right? He becomes the number one dominant force in his sport. I'm trying to make you by watching these videos and building your playbook with these documents, I'm trying to make you the dominant force in whatever your niche is. And we can do that quite quickly. You just follow these documents. This is a playbook. This is like the dark, unfair advantage tactics. Combined with an ability to communicate clearly and often. Floyd Mayweather used to yap a lot, but he had all the other things, so it made it make sense. Right? He backed it up. Point being. So to anyone looking from the outside in, it looks like I was able to just leap here. Especially if you're just tuning in and you don't see the other 80 videos behind me that I put out every single day. And I got a good, 200 something left before we even remotely consider shifting and pivoting strategies here. So to anyone looking from the outside in, it looks like I was able to leap here. Really, it's been the same tactics, same strategies, and same principles I employed twice before in my other businesses. The point is, you can accelerate the rate at which you go from a nobody to the undisputed market authority by doing what? By creating your own market. That is not a new concept. That is not a new idea, but it's one that I'm employing in this business to gain a completely unfair advantage. Read this book if you haven't already. You don't got to read the whole thing, but you got to start picking at it. Expert Secrets by Russell Brunson. I'm exhausted, by the way, guys. I don't know if you can't tell. I don't know if it looks like I need sleep, but it's been really busy at the agency. Anyway, so I was able to completely take over the lead generation space within a matter of weeks by simply carving out my own category. AI cold email. Leading and by leading with results versus vanity metrics like income. And you see all these like the 19-year-old kids in the AI space. They title every single one of their YouTube videos like, $119,000. I made $119,000 last month selling AI. And that's like every single one of the YouTube titles. And then you don't really learn much, right? There's no real depth or substance to what it is that's happening, right? There's no real strategy. It's just like, follow these tactics, but the strategy is never cited. The principles are never cited. So you can't really mold that to anything else or adapt that to anything else. Or it's like and I'm so tired of seeing this, but like on YouTube, you'll see like, it's always the traders, by the way. It's always the traders or a lot of the e-com guys. It's always like, I bought a $280,000 Lamborghini at 19. I had to they're like parasites. Anyway, so lead with results and you'll get a lot further. You'll build a lot more credibility, authority, so on and so forth. Because anyone can do that stuff. Anyone can do that. Here in my garage here's a Lambo in my garage, right? Like anyone can do that stuff. If you're not first to do it though, you're just fighting for scraps, and you'll never be the market authority unless you can never get here this quickly. And I'm trying to get you here quickly. The title of this video is How to Price Your Offers to Hit 50K a Month ASAP. So I'm giving you not just the tactics, but the strategy, not the strategy, but the principles to do so. Anyway, I digress. Leading with results versus vanity metrics like income, and using these documents to show that I can articulate these concepts at a higher level than anybody else, accelerating the rate at which trust is built and authority is cemented. So I'm going to give you an idea. If you are thinking of starting an inbound client acquisition channel like YouTube or something like this, make some documents. This is not an original concept. People were doing the Google Docs. Make your own documents. I guarantee you it'll come out in your own unique style. But anyway, so this is why I make these, is to show that I can articulate these concepts of business strategy, of lead generation, of marketing, of whatever it is, at a higher level than anybody else remotely in my space, accelerating the rate at which trust is built and authority is cemented. So that's how we go from competency to authority. So that's a very long-winded way of saying me speaking on the thing often and deciding to make my own section of the market, just make it, removes the amount of people I need to compete with. It's like sidestepping, accelerating me as a market authority, because there's no one else to crown, while folks are fighting in saturated markets, in red oceans. If you've read Blue Ocean, what's it called? Blue Ocean Theory? Blue Ocean. While folks are fighting in saturated markets for the scraps and never get seen as an authority, period, because they're all just clones of each other. They're like the minions. Don't be one of the minions. This authority, backed by results, plays heavily in my ability to charge high amounts, and I will get you there. We will roll into the principles in a moment. But still, this is nothing in isolation. So part of carving your own space is finding ways to justify a premium price and a premium offer. Again, part of carving your own space in a market. So part of you doing this, like a way you carve your own space, is finding a way to justify a premium price. So it kind of works in like its own self-fulfilling cycle. You find a way to justify a premium price, and that makes you your own market. It puts you in a world of your own. You also just create your own world, and it allows you to charge a premium price. So you're gonna start thinking of categories you can fit yourself into, but also just offers that you can offer at a really high price point. So here's an excerpt from Alex Hormozi's $100 million offers, which is a must read if you haven't already. That really stuck with me. So the goal isn't just to be slightly above the market price. The goal is to be so much higher that a consumer thinks to themselves, this is so much more expensive. There must be something entirely different going on here. This is how you create a category of one. In this new perceived marketplace, you are a monopoly and can make monopoly profits. That is the point. You should read this book. You should find this part. You should digest this. Okay, so everything we just spoke about is to, I say all of this to say we didn't arrive here all at once as an agency. It took steps. It took layers. Now, number two, making sense of this, further making sense of this. So we benchmark against the value we provide, right? We benchmark against the value we provide. In the last 3 months, we have demonstrated through both internal and client campaigns that we have been able to consistently generate north of $250,000 in deal flow month over month. In one specific instance, we scaled a 4-person agency operation to over $1 million in annual recurring revenue within 3 months. Case study below. You guys have probably seen this if you've been on my channel. We have been doing deliberate and intense market research on what our pricing should be going forward, particularly on done-for-you services, which represents our main/premium offer. The goal is to get out of performance-based, so $300 to $800 per meeting, not because this was a worse-off model. It's actually one of the most lucrative models in existence if you have a system that works. I have always planned to move from this simply because of the way I wanted to fit and scale and build my agency, my lifestyle. What I mean by that specifically, I wanted a small amount of high-paying clients at any one time. No more than 7 clients at any one time. I don't want any closers. I don't want to do that whole thing. As YouTube scales as a client acquisition channel for me, I wanted what folks see on here to be what they get behind the scenes. So I didn't want closers or sales folks. You get me. So in deciding the $16K fee, we took a close look at the average top-line revenue we'd be driving to a business within 12 months of the start of our work together. The math is right here. So typically in a price value equation, we would project the value driven to the business over 12 months through actions directly tied to us, and then charge 10% of that. However, we simply haven't had enough runway/test time to make these projections, so we stuck with 6 months. Again, typically in a price valued equation, we would project the value driven to the business over 12 months. We would forecast that. That's why that was a ramble. We would forecast the value driven to the business for over 12 months through actions directly tied to us, and then we would charge 10% of that. So if we forecast to make a business $100,000 over 12 months, according to the standard price value equation, we would charge $10,000 as our fee. But again, we haven't even been in business long enough to make those projections concrete. So we stuck with 6 months. So the $16K fee, when broken down to a monthly fee of $5K, represents 10% of the top line value we drive to businesses month over month. See below for the math. Note, this is the simplest way to go about this, or the simplest way to go about this is to just ask yourself how much you want to get paid, then deliver 10 times that. That's like pricing for dummies. So I'm gonna highlight that in red. The math is just to be making sense of it in my own head so I could charge it without hesitation. So summary, charge 10 to 30% of value created. This is like one of the key takeaways of this document: how to get a 50K a month ASAP, charge 10 to 30% of the value created, which means you got to figure out how much value you're creating, period. You got to forecast that. You got to figure that out. If you don't know that, that's alarming, and I can help you figure that out if we work together. So don't worry. You'll know your numbers by the time I'm done with you. Now that we are working with businesses in the $1 million and up range and have amassed sufficient credibility in the marketplace, led by a case study of having taken several businesses to multiple 6 and 7 figure range, charging 16K is mathematically undervaluing what we do, and charging 50K is no longer out of this world. Again, now that we are working with businesses in the $1 million plus annual recurring revenue range and have amassed sufficient credibility in the marketplace, led by a case study of having taken several businesses to multiple 6 figures and in the 7 figure range, charging 16K is mathematically undervaluing what we do, and charging 50K is no longer out of this world. Note, at this point in our work, we are not just providing leads or generating deals. This is important to note. This sounds crazy for just lead generation. I know it does. But crazy things happen. Crazier things have happened. At this point in our work, we are not just providing leads or generating deals, but often installing an entirely new client acquisition channel for a business. I also have a friend who got an $80,000 contract for graphic design. They run a marketing agency. They got an $80,000 contract up front for graphic design, for designing like material, like corporate material, business material. The institution is a university. So this stuff, you just got to pick the folks with money. The reason why this might sound out of this world is because on top of not having these things, which you will get if I help you out and you just read these documents and you stick around on this channel. But on top of not having those things, folks are going after folks with no money. And that's like you'll never see numbers like this. And I know it takes some self-esteem and stuff like that to do so, and research, and we'll talk about that in a moment. I promise you. Of course, this limits the pool of businesses we can work with, and services expand beyond just cold email. I don't think anybody's charging 50K to just do cold email at this level. This limits, actually, maybe. That's a lie. If your performance, you could. There definitely are people. Anyway, of course, this limits the pool of businesses we can work with, and services expand beyond just cold email to incorporate things like strategic consulting work, strategic mentorship, funnel optimization and business strategy, organizational and team mobilization, and premium offer creation. All the things that take place outside of cold email to make cold email as a client acquisition channel actually work layered with all other channels. So now that you know how to price your work mathematically, we've gone through the value equation, right? In summary, I know Pablo can be I'm not talking third person. I know it can be a lot. It's important for you, like how you get the edges through complexity. How you get the edges is knowing and understanding this game better than anybody else. It's like chess. You understand the game theory better than anybody else. And then you just do more output than anybody else. And that's what makes you lethal. That's how I can cut through spaces so quickly. This is a joke for me. Like this is a game for me, right? I just come in and I take over a space, and then I move to the next and come in and take over and I'm giving you the playbook because I want all this to be documented. This might be a book one day, but you're getting it for free as it's being created. And I want to get you guys here too. I want to get you guys here too if you're not already. And then we're gonna talk about something in a second, which allows me to work with folks who are way richer than me and actually be of value and service. So we'll talk about that in a sec. But anyway. Now that you know how to price your work mathematically, let's bring this back to you and apply this to your business. So how to price your offers to guarantee you, I got to change this because, disclaimers, no income claims, to guarantee you hit 50K a month ASAP. So to hit 50K a month ASAP, you have to, number one, sell expensive stuff a few times. Number two, sell cheap stuff a lot of times. Cheap stuff attracts cheap people, attracts the worms. We don't want that. We don't want the worms. We all know what it's like dealing with the worms. We were all once worms. Don't attract the worms. It is always Heed my words. It is always, without exception, easier to do number one, to sell expensive stuff a few times. And if it feels like it's not, then we need to discuss the concept below, which I hinted at about working with folks with a lot more money than me and still providing value. We need to discuss the concept below. We will go deeper into this in a future video in the coming days. Self-esteem. This is like the golden nugget here. This is the ticket. This is the thing. This is the thing. This is the it factor. When people talk about the it factor, in any discipline, in any endeavor, whether it's music, athletics, entertainment, whatever it is, entrepreneurship, it's this. This is the it factor right there. Self-esteem. 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 Right? If it feels like it's not easier to sell expensive stuff, then we need to discuss the concept of self-esteem. This is the thing that when unlocked, and when everything is reduced down to self-esteem, the game gets really easy. So when you unlock self-esteem, the game gets really easy. Any game gets really easy. It's laughably a joke. And when you reduce everything just to your level of self-esteem and measuring your level of self-esteem and being aware of where your self-esteem is at, then the game gets laughably easy. I put out a tweet the other day. If I can increase your self-esteem by a factor of 10, I can increase your income by a factor of 1,000. That's not a joke. Of course, these numbers are meant to represent and fit the larger point. The number one way to boost self-esteem in order to charge high amounts, so the number one way to boost your self-esteem to make the amount of money you want to make very quickly. Number one way to boost self-esteem is to pay high amounts. Pay high amounts for things, like buy expensive things, like get used to paying large amounts. You cannot charge high amounts unless you're used to paying high amounts. I said this in a video. The mental traps you'll hit at 10K a month, 30K a month, 50K a month. I said in that video, one of the best things I did this year was pay a young gentleman $16,000 for access to him. What that allowed me to do was make sense in my head mentally and self-esteem wise of charging high amounts. These no longer feel like high amounts. This feels like I'm charging $1,600. It's like that. And it attracts people to whom it feels like they only spent $1,600, not $16K, because they have the money to be able to afford it. So the number one way to boost self-esteem in order to charge high amounts, thus in order to hit 50K a month ASAP, is to pay high amounts. And number two, be around other rich people. I should say be around other people with high self-esteem. It just so happens that those two have a high correlation, I am assuming. Those two things, these two criteria, these two things are why people with money prioritize not just education, but access. We're going on a bit of a tangent here, but this is important. This all ties back to how you price your offers really high. We've now understand the price to value equation. We now understand we got to price our stuff high with integrity, of course. Now, how do we make sense of being able to do that without it throwing us off internally? We need self-esteem. So this is why people with money prioritize not just education, but access, because you're going to get money if you don't already have it. You're going to hit 50K a month, and now you're going to have your eyes set on 250K a month in take home. That's going to feel like a lot. You can't afford it to feel like a lot. You can't afford to have that feel like a lot. So you got to get around people who to them that is just normal amount. So on and so forth. I just happen to have a lot higher self-esteem than folks who make more money than me. That's how I'm growing so quickly, because it matches. Your income will align with your self-esteem very quickly. Like, you will subconsciously shift and rearrange your whole life to match where your self-esteem is at. In the world of free education, if you're going to pay for anything, pay for access. This is actually an age-old thing. Think rich families making sure their kids get into Harvard. It's the same thing. So access. Why? Why access? Because it boosts self-esteem. It makes you question why you aren't making more. You'll feel very out of place. Very, very out of place. It'll make you question why you aren't making more. You'll have a very hard time sleeping at night. And it'll make you question to the core of your soul why you aren't charging more. It makes you question why you are settling for clients that need babysitting. Trust me, you spend enough time around me. Spend 6 weeks around me, and you'll never go back to charging whatever you're charging again. You'll make way more money just by being You know what I mean? Just this is why I like I'm in circles. Like you feel out of place by not, by playing when you play small. You feel out of place. So this is why masterminds, private programs, so on and so forth exist, and why they're the single highest ROI move you can make. Not for skills, not for the skills, not for the knowledge, because you guys are smart enough and all this stuff is available for free on the internet, but for self-esteem. That's it. Right? If Sam down the street charges 16K, you'll realize he's no better than me, so why aren't you doing that? Right? Sam charges 16K, he's no better than me, so why aren't I doing that? And then the cycle repeats. So we will go further into this in a separate file or document in the coming days. For now, do yourself the honor of calculating how much value you bring to a business in a year or however long your average engagement is. And then ask yourself why you aren't charging more. We've talked about how to sell this in calls and how to optimize this for cold traffic to begin the sales process over cold email in a past video. Again, I've linked that video right here. Takeaway. If you price according to the price value equation, and you have the self-esteem necessary to push this offer aggressively, this is how you scale from 10K a month to 50K a month ASAP. ASAP. After that, once the math is done and the funnel is refined, there are no other true bottlenecks but self-esteem and self-image. Once the math is done and the funnel is refined, there are no other true bottlenecks in the business but self-esteem and self-image. That's a principle for another day, but that's how I'm able to provide this strategic guidance and mentorship to folks who make way more money than me, because I help them make more money just by readjusting their concept of how these things operate and how these things all fit together. It's a bit abstract, I know, but I want you to take notice of something, because this is a bit more of an advanced approach to pricing. Notice how we didn't talk about tactics. I didn't pull up an Excel spreadsheet. I'm not babying you in this video. Or in the last couple of videos, I haven't been babying you. We're beyond, I trust you to be able to do your own math. You want some spreadsheets, I can give you some spreadsheets on, to calculate your margins and whatever it is that you're obsessed over. We can do that, but I trust that you can do that on your own, or that you'll take the initiative to do that on your own, and that you have already done so on your own. We're moving beyond tactics. Sometimes we will talk strategy. And there's a lot of strategy in this, but we're moving beyond that as well. The price value equation is an example of strategy. But on top of that, higher than that are principles. Principles. Right? Principles of why you need to charge a lot, because it allows you to deliver the best work to the highest, the best possible client. Like this right here, principles. Right here, these are principles. Principles. I got this from Myron, by the way, Myron Golden, in his challenge workshop thing. Principles, and then on top of that is self-essence. Essence is things like self-esteem. So if you can internalize stuff in this way, I trust that you will know what to do on your own time. Like that, I don't need to tell you, unless you're like a total beginner, I'm not here to tell you exactly what to do. I need to get you to trust your gut. If I can get you to trust your gut and know which principles to operate by, then you'll know what to look for on your own. And that is how you become a lethal entrepreneur. It's you have to trust your gut. You got to be in the jungle, in the wild, on your own, and test things and be okay with making mistakes, but know the general direction of what you're going for. All right. So I'm going to leave that there. Leave your questions in the comments. If you're doing above 80K a month in MRR, hit the website, my agency's website in the description below for more information on our primary agency services. And I am working on a mentorship offer. It is in development. Details to be announced by the end of this month. It will be the best program on the market. That's period. Like that's not a joke. Every other program is largely a joke. So you can get further just by watching my free stuff. I guarantee you. I've done enough research on them all. But anyway, leaving that there. Leave any questions in the comments. Otherwise, I can't speak today. See, I need some sleep, guys. Otherwise, see you guys in the next video. I'm out. Peace.